We are always happy to have motivated staff like you. We wish you the best of luck.
Thanks.
Of course. I'll call you back tomorrow when I have all the information. Welcome. So good to have you. And this is our operational and administrative guide. Just have a quick read through it. Everything's in there. Oh, and by the way, I'll be on leave for the next few weeks, so I won't be available. But don't worry, I'm sure you'll manage. Everyone has so far. And now, it's time to join Laura for your first mission.
We're all so incredibly proud. You've always had such a strong sense of justice.
You can really make a difference in this job, just like you've always wanted. You got this, bro.
Marhaba. Could I come to town with you later? I need to see my aunt at the hospital.
Sure, that should be no problem.
I'm very sorry, but we're not allowed to for insurance reasons.
أهلا وسهلا.
أهلا فيكو. This is my new colleague.
Hello.
Can we come in?
We were forced to leave our home, and we have no idea what happened to the people in our village. We had to leave my sister behind. She was very ill.
Oof, it must be so hard to cope with this. How can anyone survive that much grief?
Oh dear. Will this guy really be able to handle a job like this? I'm worried it will be too much for him and he won't be able to respond adequately. How can I make him understand?
I have to do something. Where's the vulnerability list? Who's going to check it and make the decision? And how will I be able to cope with hearing about such tragedies? Listening to this is already hard to handle.
For goodness sake, how is this supposed to work? I might just as well do it myself.
If I can't even manage this, I'm completely useless. I'm here to help, but how does any of this even make any difference? And where on earth can I find the attachment to request the approval? Why is it yellow? Wasn't it supposed to be blue?
Did you find a copy of application form L for the needs assessment? For heaven's sake, please pull yourself together. Is it really that complicated? I have a million other things to take care of too. How am I supposed to manage you on top of all that?
Why is there no one to support us?
I'm sorry, but I won't be able to help you.
I can't sleep for weeks. What a mess in this project.
I can't work this way. They have no idea what's happening here on location.
I told you 1,000 times that you are not allowed to make any concessions to the target group.
We can't help you today.
When working in contexts of conflict and crisis, we are confronted with a multitude of challenging situations which are often accompanied by stories of trauma and suffering. An aid worker's well-being in these contexts is influenced by a wide range of factors. For instance, the local security situation, potential transference of the target group's distress which can lead to so-called empathy fatigue or a vicarious trauma, witnessing injustice, feelings of helplessness when dealing with problems that are beyond our control, and perceived guilt when we become aware of our own comparatively privileged situation. And finally, The discrepancy between the urgency of the needs we are responding to and the complex, lengthy, and sometimes confusing processes within our organizations or those of our partners, which slow down our attempts to offer support. The more stressed out we are because of these or other factors, the less capacity we have to interact constructively with our colleagues while at the same time doing our jobs. Our initial empathy, commitment, and supportiveness can then be replaced by the feeling that we overstretched, and we can suffer a loss of motivation. Distrust can build up towards partners and members of the target group, and also towards colleagues. We might also start to doubt the usefulness of our work. Our organizations might also have to deal with the consequences if their staff are overtaxed and overstressed. Conflicts might no longer be solved constructively. There could be more and more absences. Staff fluctuation may increase with the subsequent loss of valuable know-how. Therefore, staff well-being is not simply a matter of concern for the individuals in question. It is a crucial component in the success of a project and an organization as a whole. There is no blueprint for staff care. Each organization and every team will have to find their own way that suits the context and the team's tasks and way of working, as well as the individual colleagues.
Just swing by if you need help.
Sorry for my outburst earlier. I'm sure we'll manage. It's great how motivated you are, but be careful with loading too much personal responsibility and pressure on yourself. That won't do anybody justice. I went through the same thing when I started, and I found that supervision really helped. You do know that we are entitled to that a month, right?
I'm sorry you were left to jump in at the deep end. I guess we need to get some support structures in place.
Organizations and teams that take staff care seriously create conditions that promote well-being, feelings of safety and security, appreciation, feelings of control, and mindfulness. And this means, right from the beginning, staff should be onboarded and sufficiently prepared for their assignments and missions and receive the trainings needed to fulfill their duties. At the beginning, being accompanied and mentored by an experienced colleague is helpful to increase new staff's sense of security and their confidence to take on tasks and responsibilities by themselves. Regular possibilities for safe spaces in which staff can reflect upon their work and the challenges they have, such as supervision and peer coaching, should be established and easily accessible for staff. And more than this, well-being, safety, appreciation, feelings of control, and mindfulness should be integrated and promoted at all levels within the operation, in trainings, project work, administration, and managerial processes. This entails, for example, acknowledgement and trust in colleagues and partner organizations, and reducing avoidable stressors like excessive bureaucracy and unnecessary coordination loops. So, while it is important to look at processes and interactions within our projects, we must also inspect the structures that exist within the organization as a whole. All these aspects should not be seen as nice to have, but as a professional precondition for development cooperation. They need to be embedded in the organization and financed by it to really bear fruit. Even if there is no such thing as the one solution for staff care, there definitely is one first step, and that is creating spaces in our working environment in which people can feel listened to, feelings like vulnerability and powerlessness can be shared, and conflicts and problems can be discussed without having to be afraid of ridicule or any form of discrimination. What staff care should look like in terms of specific approaches and measures always depends on the specific team, its tasks, and the organization it is set in. All colleagues should be involved in discussing and selecting those approaches and measures. Fostering dialogue about this within teams and with partners can be easier when receiving help through coaches and when the organization offers sufficient financial support. When working in contexts of crisis and conflict, we cannot completely resolve work-related stressors just by introducing a staff care concept. But successfully reducing their destructive energy with the help of a staff care approach benefits not only the individual team members, but also the team and the project as a whole, and in the end, the target group.